We don't chase, we attract. We don't chase, we attract.
That's you.
We don't chase, we attract.
That's me.
We don't chase, we attract.
That's us.
We don't chase, we attract.
That's we.
We don't chase, we attract.
That's you.
We don't chase, we attract.
That's me.
We don't chase, we attract.
That's us.
We don't chase, we attract.
That's we.
We don't chase. Yeah, okay.
If you tuned in to see if you can argue with your spouse and still be madly in love, you're in the right spot.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Annie.
And we're the Kilkos. Sound like a game show.
We're your host of Life's Little Arguments. We're not trained experts in love and marriage. Actually, we might be quite dysfunctional, but we have been happily married for 16 years.
Debatable.
Not only will we share all the ups and downs of marriage, but the ins and outs of raising his and her kids, growing through new jobs and opportunities, and our latest obsession, our empty nest babies, our dogs, Blakely and Lincoln.
So if you hear ding, ding, ding across the microphone, they're probably walking across the floor.
Listen in each week while we discuss our life, current events, random TikToks, and the little arguments that undoubtedly come up. Whether you're in a long-term relationship yourself or in a fresh new relationship, we hope you find our podcast fun, entertaining, and helps you realize there is a normal in life's little arguments.
Now that we have effectively gotten that stuck in everyone's ear.
You call that an earworm. I have never heard that term before until you brought it
Really?
up. Yeah, and what's funny is I apparently do earworms all the time.
All the time.
Drives you crazy. If I do them all the time, name one right now.
The Pookie and them, Pookie and them, Pookie
Okay.
and them, Pookie and them, Pookie and them, Pookie and them. You do that
That is
one.
so good. First of all, that you came up with that. I thought you were going to say "nuck if you buck" because I do "nuck if you buck" pretty
I
often
can never
too.
think of that one.
I don't even know where Pookie and them came from.
Snort.
It must have been like a hip hop song at some point in my life because it I get it stuck in my own head. So, and then there's a couple of other. They'll come to me. It's like hard to think about it, but then I just naturally do them. But there's a couple like slower songs that I've kind of turned into like an earworm. But anyhow, you did one on TikTok today.
I did.
We don't chase, we attract one. And
Yeah.
so I was like, it's kind of been stuck in my head all day.
Yeah,
So.
and we freestyled it, so
Yeah.
you added in on that one. So
I sure did.
I think it got a couple of people hyped. They appreciated it.
Listen,
my little new friends on TikTok
You got me hyped.
appreciated it.
You got me. Let's talk about cringe things.
Okay.
So every time I do, or I hear you, or we do this, like there's a couple things that are cringe. First of all,
Hold on, I gotta take my earrings out for this.
oh geez. First
ahead.
of all, you act like you about to get in a fight. First of all, I don't think you do a whole lot that's cringe. In fact, I would tell you if you did. But when you worked at the boutique and you did like lives and videos and
Yeah.
every single thing you would do, you start out with, "Hey, gorgeous."
Yeah, that was my
Now,
thing.
granted, you were talking to women, and I get it, and you wanted them to feel gorgeous and all that stuff. But here's the thing: up until very recently, that followed you,
It did.
and I'm like, it's been over a year now. Let's let that one go. And then the other one,
Okay.
hold on. And then there's only two. The other one is,
But can I address that one first?
and no, I bet if the audience goes back and listens to the podcast and they listen from start to finish. Let's say we're on episode 35, and I don't know what episode we're on, but 35. I guarantee
I didn't do it last
30
time.
of them probably end with,
Whoa,
Oh, geez.
whoa, Lincoln.
big boy. Big boy. That looked like we had a ghost up in her.
Did.
I think the
That was
Jesus.
not
I think the
good.
microphone got a little
Damn.
closer to me. But anyhow, sorry about that, guys.
Sorry.
Big
Lincoln,
boy.
Lincoln just came
Yeah.
barreling through like a bull in a
Anyways,
china
I
shop.
bet 30 out of 35 ended with, bye. And I'm just
Bye.
like, oh my God, it's so cringe.
It's not cringe. Well, I
Anyways,
mean, maybe
I'm done. Those are the only two things.
maybe it possibly is cringe. I listened to a podcast. That's where I got it from. I listened to a podcast, and one of them, when they are signing off, like the end of the podcast, they do that. They're like, bye. And I was like, I don't know, I just picked it up. And I do it not just in the podcast, but like I'll do it.
Not the,
No, I
tripod
won't.
over.
Don't put
All right.
that into yours. I'll do it to like when I hang up the phone sometimes. Like I do that with Lauren.
No,
Like,
I
it's
know.
just
Yeah.
I don't know. But you apparently think it's cringe, so I didn't do it last podcast or last couple of podcasts. I
Yeah.
tried to stop since you have said it's cringe. And the Hey Gorgeous, like first of all, very few women are given compliments such as that. So if I'm coming on somewhere or talking to you or whatever, and I'm like, hey, gorgeous, like that makes a chick feel good. So you've effectively stopped me from doing that too. So the ladies, if you enjoyed either of those, you can blame Kent because
but I think the difference is before it was like exclusive female audience. Now it's not just a female audience.
okay, sure. I'll quit playing. I'll quit saying
Like if I'm listening to a
Hey,
podcast
gorgeous.
and they're like, "Hey, gorgeous, bye," I'm out. I'm out.
It's funny to me that the whole bye didn't come up as a cringe until I told you were being cringy. It's just funny. It's funny.
What did you say I did that was cringe?
Love you, fam. Mean
Oh
it.
yeah,
On
yeah.
every fucking post you did.
You're right. It probably didn't come
And it
up
was
until after
so
that.
cringe.
But it was one of those deals where you told me I was cringe. I was like, well, hold on. Since we talking about it, since you were clearly activated about it and didn't say anything, I thought to myself, well, if I'm doing something that's cringe, you should let me know. Just
I
like
did.
if you're
I
doing,
did.
you just like if you right. But it was late in the game. I mean, because hell, I probably made 80 posts that says "love you,
Right,
mean
but
it."
you fought against it. Like you were not happy that I told you that.
And
You still are
I still
like,
don't agree, but I hadn't done it since. So
why don't you agree? So you think to your 3,000 followers, love you, fam? Like they're all fam? Like you know all three?
fam is just a. It's
But
an
love ya?
informal.
Love
Well,
ya.
first of all, it's love you is not the same as I love you. If I was saying I love you,
Agreed, I suppose.
I'm just saying love you, fam. Love you, mean it is actually what I say.
Which
I'm
is
saying,
actually
love you,
funny
mean it.
because you'll say that on a Facebook post or like a video if
Yeah.
you're doing it. But in our tight friend group, like you don't even say it to those people.
Maybe I don't love them. No, I'm just teasing.
Well,
I'm just teasing.
But you love the
No,
other
no.
2,990 that
No, that's
are on
not.
Facebook.
That's not true. But that's actually a good point. I don't normally say
Yeah,
that
it's a real
to
fucking
them
good
unless
point. I
it's
know.
like it's something's happened or whatever. Then I'll kind of do it, or when Friendsgiving or something rolls around, something like that. But no, you're right. But again, I think of it as being so informal that it never really crossed my mind that I'm really saying I love you guys. You know what I mean? Like it was just, all right, love you, mean it. That was just kind of my tagline. But anyhow, I've not done it since.
Thank God, because it was so cringe to me.
Wow.
I mean,
Did we end up asking? I think we said we should put a vote up to the
yes,
audience. In
and
fact,
we
we're going to do
didn't.
that.
Yeah.
We're going to do that after this episode. It's probably going to be too late tonight because, I only do shit if I'm going to get a good response.
Of course you do. Of course you do. So anyway, so what kind of cringe things do you guys have? Does your partner? Is there anything that they do?
The chewing. We talked about that.
We don't need you to get any closer to the mic.
The
You are
chewing,
so
the
close
chewing
right
part.
now.
We've talked about that before.
We've talked about the chewing part.
How many people do you? So I heard on TikTok.
You have just developed that. This has not always been the case for you.
What?
This whole chewing thing.
No, you're right.
This
I think
is like literally you've developed this in the last year.
Well, no, I think it's probably more of an empty nest thing because before it was, you've got Jackson was here, Lauren was here when she was here. There was a lot more going on. But it's like when it's just kind of me and you, I think it's a little bit more obvious.
It is because if I swear to God, if you chew gum around me again, probably going to divorce court.
But I heard this
that
thing.
is like I'm up to here with the chewing gum.
I've tried to do better at the house. I'm still going to chew it in the vehicle, but I've tried to do better at the house because I do the popping thing, and it even gets to my own nerves. In fact, I do it so much my jaw's starting to hurt. Like
It's not good for you.
My tongue, what is not?
The chewing gum.
Why do you say that? It probably burns calories.
No, it doesn't burn calories. It puts a bunch of gas into you. You probably have much gassier.
Yeah, I need to go do some research on that.
Yeah, go do
It
research,
makes
girl.
no
I don't
sense
care.
that it doesn't burn muscles. It's like your jaw muscles going constantly.
Okay, sure, whatever.
But anyhow.
That's
So, but I don't think I was watching something on TikTok today, and there was a couple that had been married, I think, like 39 years.
bless them.
And the guy said, "What do you think is the secret to a successful marriage after all the time?" And immediately she said, "Working different schedules," and he said, "Different bedrooms."
Oh,
So, have you ever looked into the percentage of married couples that sleep in different
I
bedrooms?
thought you were going to ask me had I looked into us having separate bedrooms, and I'm like, kind of.
Wow. But I just wonder, like, how often. Like, I know my grandparents, they always had separate bedrooms. My parents had, of course, one bedroom. But I'm just wondering, is that like a common thing or what?
I think it's probably more common than you think. I think people like either one person or the other, maybe that doesn't sleep well. Snores. It could be
maybe
like
a different schedule.
machines. It could be different schedules.
But do you think that it makes sex more interesting? Like, do you think they're like almost like you're going away, almost like you're going to a hotel, in a sense? You know? Whose bed were we going to get in on tonight? You know what I mean?
I don't know. It makes me wonder. Those people that are sleeping in separate bedrooms, do they even have sex?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I would think maybe.
We need to do a little bit more research before
we'll bring this up on the next time. I just didn't know if you had ever looked at it before.
I've got I need to turn this iPad on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that it works, but maybe we can.
I think that's like an iPad too.
It's like
circa 2000.
It literally probably is. It is. It's very, 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 very old. And we can possibly look that up. But yeah, no, I would be interested to see, even of our listeners, like, is there anybody out there that has separate bedrooms?
Well, because I'll be honest.
And what's the purpose? Why?
I'll be honest with you. Like, my parents, when I was growing up, we didn't live in a big house. I mean, like, my bedroom was literally across the hall from them. But I literally could hear both my parents
literally one more time
snore the entire night. Like full on, there's a fucking rhinoceros in your room snoring. Damn. And I'm just like how? Like, if you snore like that, the alternative would be divorce. It would either be separate bedrooms or divorce. There's no possible way I could sleep with you in the bed if you snored like that.
Same.
And I remember I went to a procedure of Lauren's when she was growing up. She had a surgery on her leg. And I remember my dad went with me, and we stayed in a hotel room in Atlanta. In one hotel room. It was the worst night of sleep I've had in my entire life. And I woke up and I told him, I said, if you ever come somewhere with me again, I'm paying for you to have a separate hotel room. I will never make that mistake again. What? It just didn't even realize it either. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I mean, because he's been doing it his probably
entire life,
forever and ever and ever, and it's never been a thing.
So anyhow, I'm glad you don't snore.
I'm glad you really don't snore.
And I'm glad you really don't have a lot of what do we call them? Icks? Cringes.
Icks. And we need to play that game. Terry gave us a little game. It was about icks. And we haven't gone through it on the podcast. And we need to. But then at some point, I'm also a little bit worried. Yeah, because like maybe you have icks that I haven't recognized are icks.
And it's going to bring it to the surface.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, damn, I don't even like this dude.
Yes, I am a little concerned about that.
You know, now that you say that, I don't want to play the game. That is probably subconsciously the reason that game has not been open. Terry,
right.
We're going to send it back to your house. Sorry. Thank you for the gesture. But I don't need any more help in the my wife has icks department. So
okay, so I searched how many couples have separate bedrooms. It says now I don't know what this is based on, but Google AI says a significant number of couples estimated as 1 in 5 or more sleep in separate bedrooms, with many doing so regularly, a trend sometimes referred to as sleep divorce.
So does it say like the age groups or anything like that? I'm wondering, is that like something that the newer folks are starting to do? Or because I could honestly see the newer people doing that. I really could.
What do you mean newer people?
Like 30 and below.
Okay.
I really could see them doing that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because the guys, I still think, when they're 20s, they're still staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning playing video games. And I don't know. I get the sense that, and maybe I'm just way off base here, but I get the sense that sex is not as important to the 30 and below group as it was when we were 30 and below. Or I would say maybe even, 25 and below. Well, I just don't get that sense.
Okay, so this is interesting. So it says reasons. It says reasons that they are practicing sleep divorce because conflicting sleep schedules, snoring, individual preferences, and even intimacy issues.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. The snoring one would have to be the one. The schedule, we've never really had to worry about that, but I could certainly see that being, like if you worked overnight or something like that. And yeah, so that's interesting. Google the average number of times, the average frequency of sex among married couples. I'm curious to know that.
Frequency.
And sorry for the delays. Annie will have to speed some of this up, I'm guessing, as she's editing. So
Yeah, probably won't do that.
she said I probably won't do that.
Okay, here's a more detailed look at sex frequency. I did it by age.
Okay.
And it says, on average, sexual frequency tends to decrease with age. No shit. With younger people having more sex more often, or having sex more often than older people. Okay, so individuals in their 20s typically have sex about 80 times per year. That's roughly once every 4 to 5 days.
So
Mid-40s, people have sex about 60 times per year, or just over once a week. 60s, people in their 60s have sex about 20 times per year, or less than twice a month. 70s, some studies show that even women over 70 engage in sexual activity more than 4 times a week. So here's the good news. If you make it to 70,
4 times
you are
a week?
golden. Yeah, you need you an old lady.
You know, that's one of those nursing homes where you got that stud
Right.
in there.
Right.
That silver fox in there is just taking it all to women. They're just like, oh my God.
But okay, they didn't say they were having sex with men.
Well, I mean, I suppose
I've been
you're right.
having sex with those big old black vibrators
Oh,
they'd
Jesus.
be ordering to the nursing home.
Wow.
Anyway, that's it. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. So, good and bad news.
Yeah. Well, you know, medicine has come a long way as well. So that's probably an old, outdated thing. But because, you know, they got testosterone supplements, they got dick pills. I mean, they got all sorts of stuff to kind of keep that vibrant. But I don't want to get you started on that because you'll say, yeah, they got all this stuff for the guys and they don't have this stuff for the women, blah, blah, blah. Which is true. I mean, it's a lot harder and maybe more expensive to get some of the female stuff. So anyhow.
No, it's a maybe. It is, absolutely.
So I just thought that, I don't know what even made me think about that, but I thought since you had the iPad there with you, you might as well. So one thing I wanted to talk about was something we encountered last week. The last few weeks have been really busy for me for work, right? And you have done an amazing job at letting me focus on that and getting stuff done. And of course, you know, when you don't work a 9 to 5, the trade-off is you're kind of always available. And that may mean you're getting text messages in the morning, you're getting messages while you're eating dinner, it might be in the evening, whatever. So
are you talking about me not working a 9 to 5 or you not working
anybody who doesn't work a 9
Just
to
in
5,
general.
like as a realtor, you know, your schedule, your trade-off is you're kind of available, or at least I am.
Okay.
But anyhow, something had come up last week, and I felt like your energy was off a little bit. And I said, I think I can't remember the exact set. So, what do you need from me, or what am I not giving you that you need? And that was when, because I remember we were laying into bed together, and that was when your energy was way off. And I said, what am I not giving you that you need from me? And it was really somewhat of a check-in, but it was also all right, now you have to tell me something now because I can definitely feel it. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of when it came out that I think that you felt like I was distracted or not necessarily, you know, giving you the attention and whatnot. But then...
So this is a different check-in. This was last week's check-in. This week's check-in is totally different. Okay. I was getting confused. Okay.
So we'll talk. I don't know what you mean by this week, so we'll get into that. But anyhow, so I felt like either immediately before that, I think it was immediately before that, I felt like I had a little bit of time, so I was trying to give you more attention, but you weren't receiving it. and that's kind of, so that's really kind of what brought the conversation up. And the note that I made was, you want someone's attention when they're distracted or something, but then when they try to give you the attention, you aren't open to it.
Correct.
And so I guess kind of just talk through like what you were feeling, witnessing, observing, whatever. And then could you sense when I was then trying to give you the attention and that you weren't open to it? You know what I mean?
I guess so. Was that what I said? Why my energy was off? Was because of that? Or you're just saying?
No, you
made that. I feel like you made that note in there before we had this conversation about why is my energy off.
No. I don't think so. In fact, I think I made it that night.
So.
Or maybe I was trying to give you the attention before, and you weren't really receiving it, and then that's when I brought it up that night.
Yeah, I think probably because it is, I understand that you are always available. And while I think for the most part that's not a problem, I think you could put some boundaries around it to some degree. Like there's literally, unless you're expecting a phone call right that second, like there's no reason that you can't put your phone on your desk and not have it sitting up while we're eating dinner. Like that is a complete distraction because you then will post something and then it is all you can think about is interacting and seeing who's liking your post and what have they commented on there. And it's like, okay, so like, do you really even need me here? Like, what is my purpose? If I'm not interesting enough or important enough for you to come away from your fake friends on Facebook.
That I love, by the way.
That you love, by the way. To be with me. And so it had just been kind of building and building and building, and this is happening and happening, and I'm just kind of not saying anything and biting my tongue and not saying anything and biting my tongue. And I guess it got to the point of, I can tell you this is why I'm frustrated, but I've bit my tongue for so long and you've not noticed this. Like you're not picking up on this. You're not recognizing this in yourself, that it's kind of causing me to put a wall up where in the past, I think I would just like snap. I would scream, I would yell, I would throw a fit. I would get your attention. But because there have been some other stressors, I'm trying to really make sure that I'm not trying to add to that stress. So when that is the case, that means I hold it in, which means my wall goes up. Mm-hmm. And so at the point when you're ready, like that's bullshit. It's not ready. It's when you're finally off your phone and willing, then you want to give me this attention. No. This is not how it works. I'm not a second. I'm not the second option. I'm not just here for when it works for you. That's not going to work for me.
So I hear what you're saying, and I think there's a lot of validity to it. I think that there's a couple of assumptions that are maybe being made. One of them is, like, yes, when I make a post, especially if I think it's a cool video or something like that, I do like to be engaged in it and stuff like that. I think there's a misconception, though, that if like at dinner, for example, and I've got the phone sitting up there, mm-hmm. that just because I'm responding to it, I think the immediate assumption is he's worried about this Facebook post, when rarely that is the case. Most of the time, if it's up on the dinner table, it's because I've got a deal that's about to fall apart, or I'm waiting on a contract, or I'm waiting on an amendment. I'm waiting on something that, yes, probably could wait until after dinner for it to get my attention. But if it's kind of something that I've been working on for some time and really worried about, those are the things that I'm focusing my attention on. But I think that there's an assumption that if I'm doing that, I must be looking at my Facebook, or I must be looking at whatever. And that's not all the time the case. Have there been times? Absolutely. And is it easy for me to go and look at a contract or look at an email that just came through and then go peek at my Facebook? Sure, those things happen. I have tried to make much more of a conscious effort to, unless I absolutely need to have it there, because you've probably noticed me several times, if I find myself mm-hmm. naturally doing that, I'll turn the phone away because I'm aware of it. But then there are going to be times where I have to. We talk about human design and stuff like that. My inability to get beyond things that are like stuck here, that's part of the way that I'm made up as well. And if it's something these are the stressors that you're talking about. But if you know that a deal is about to go south, and
correct.
I've been working on it.
And I can hear it.
Yeah.
Right. I understand that. But that is not... I do not think this is a 50-50 type of situation. I think that is few and far between than just it's just a habit now. It's a habit. It's a habit, and it's an addiction. It's like I crave this it's like a validation, really, and that's kind of all of society has, I think, succumbed to wanting this validation from everybody. Otherwise, we wouldn't have all these stupid social apps. And so I see where they are great and you can connect with people and it's, good for businesses and stuff like that. But, the flip side of it is this, at what point do we say it's time to turn it off? Because I absolutely can hear you saying to me now, 2 years ago, are you going to be able to put that down?
I lived it for 4 years.
Are you going to be able to put that down? Are you going to be able to put that down tonight? Are you going to be able to focus and watch a show tonight? Are you going to be able to put that down tonight? And so I'm getting the flip side of it. And so I'm trying to just hold you accountable or tell you how it's making me check out. I am actively checking out, and that is not good.
Sure. Well, and I know where you're coming from because I lived that for 4 years. And I think I was probably more vocal about it because I'm just going to sit back and let it fester. I'm going to be, hold on, you're the opposite. You're going to let it fester and then it's going to come out or whatever. But I think you even kind of alluded to it the other day. I'm just going to be honest with you. You saying the word checkout, it's triggered me.
Yeah.
It bothers me. It bothers me to my core right now. And I'm just going to try to continue this podcast.
Wow.
But that's a very, very, very strong word. But anyhow, maybe that's how you really feel. I don't know. But
it's not really how I feel, but it is. If we didn't have this conversation and it just continues and continues and continues,
but this conversation wouldn't happen had I not said, all right, what do you need from me that I'm not giving you? It would have just gone on and on and on and on. Yes or no?
It would have gone into a point where I felt like you could have this conversation with me and it could be a point where I could let all of this out.
Okay. So I guess my question that I'm really trying to get to is, it's just,
why is this triggering you?
It's a very strong word. I mean, to me, checked out is along the lines of a divorce. People that get divorced are people that are checked out.
Okay.
And it's a triggering word for me. But anyhow, I'll get past that. I guess my question is, when it's like a catch-22.
I'm not checked out, by the way.
It's like a catch-22. It's like, okay, I'm starting to realize that what I'm doing is making her put this wall up. Mm-hmm. And I'm recognizing my addiction. I'm recognizing my need for validation. I'm recognizing that, yeah, I can be busy at work and I can have some fires happen at work, but then I can't let that bleed over to just the addiction of being on my phone or whatever the case may be. But when I recognize that and I then turn around and I try to do the right thing that I think you need and you want and maybe you crave or whatever, then it's met with the walls up. So and I know I'm not the only person that does this. I mean, right. You're not the only person that does that. And so I guess my question is how do you get past that?
I mean, I don't have a definitive answer for you. I know that us talking about it very frequently is helpful. It is a whole new dynamic, and I did a whole live today on it on TikTok, and God, I wish the live was recorded because
you can't go back and watch a live, can you?
No, because I really was talking myself through the frustration that I had last night or whatever it was. And now I was recognizing really what was happening. And now I can't recall what I was actually saying, but, I think we just have to keep talking about it because it's a new dynamic and things aren't always going to be this way. I hope that they are for you, but it is an ebb and flow type of business, just like any other business. And so, it's not always probably going to feel like this. But it's a new dynamic, and we're still, I think, navigating it. And even it's different from last year because it was just different. It's just different from last year. Last year, there were some gaps and some, some lulls in between the go. And,
And there are going to be times where it's going to be a go, but you're not going to have deals falling apart.
Well, right.
Because that's a big part of it too.
Exactly. And I was in a different situation where I was really focusing on trying to figure out what it is that I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I was a little bit more, I had something else going on, I suppose And so it wasn't maybe as noticeable. Possibly, or maybe I wasn't feeling it as much. Maybe I was just more in my feelings and didn't necessarily feel that piece of it. And so I'm feeling it more now. I don't know, but I think us definitely having a check-in every single week is important, because I am trying, because that's the other part is like when you are stressed, you're stressed now when deals are falling apart. If you're trying to keep deals from falling apart, and you've had several that have just like, what the hell, and you are,
which we got them back together, by the way.
Yeah, but during that time frame, you have a very short fuse, and we've talked about that as well recently. So I am like internal, the things that I normally might pop off and say, smart ass remarks, or, whatever it is, I'm just like, I'm biting my tongue to the point of like biting it off at this point to try to make everything here at home as smooth as possible so that, this is not the stress environment. This is not you don't have anything to worry about. Like you come here, you do your stuff, whatever, you got to go, blah, blah, blah. Like there's nothing that you really have to worry about here. I'm taking care of all of that. And so I'm trying to do that piece to lessen that stress for you, but it's like, doesn't matter. To some degree,
it does matter, and it does not go unnoticed. You kind of, we were somewhere in the car the other day, and you were like, "Ken, it's just a new dynamic. It's the same thing we went through, when I started the boutique, and for the 4 years or whatever. It is a new dynamic, but I think that saying we can check in once a week is a great idea. But actually doing it is an even better idea.
Yeah.
And, when you say, you're making sure, when I say, cleaning, cooking, everything. Like literally there's nothing around the house that I feel like I need to do besides pick up Christmas decorations 3.5 fucking months later. But anyways, that's for another.
That was not Christmas. That was Winter Wonderland.
Okay.
Totally different.
Totally different. All right, we're technically not even in spring yet, so I suppose it's still technically winter.
We can talk about that in a second.
You slide
we can
on
talk about that in a second.
But anyhow, so from that perspective, I agree, and it makes everything so much simpler. But I do need you to know that when that wall goes up, the alternative is the wall goes up or you're spatting off at the mouth and whatever. I would take the alternative.
Okay.
Because the wall going up,
So it's just like it's literally 2 nights ago. We're having dinner, me, you, and Lauren, and for whatever reason, I don't even remember what we were having, but it was chicken of some sort, and you had a small piece of chicken, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And like, is it so good, or you're just hungry, or what?
No, the first piece was money.
Okay, and then you went back for the second piece, and you get a second piece of chicken, and your first bite was like, oh, that's overcooked. And I'm like,
it's a little tough.
No, you said that's overcooked. You said it's definitely overcooked. That was way too done. And I'm like, okay, first of all, and I didn't say anything. I just was like, internally, I was crushing your head is what I was doing internally in my mind. Externally, I was like, okay. And I just kept eating. And I don't know if you noticed, but I went silent.
Of course I noticed.
I went absolutely silent because Lauren is sitting here too. Like, I'm not fixing to do this in front of Lauren right this second. And so, but in my mind, I'm thinking, what purpose did that serve? What purpose? It did not help me whatsoever. It did not make the chicken any less cooked. It like, what did that
What
purpose?
would you have rather me have done?
Nothing.
What if I just didn't eat it? What would you have done?
I don't give a fuck.
That's a lie.
No,
you would have been like,
it's
what's
not.
wrong with that chicken?
I would
and
not.
I would have been like, it's a little tough.
Absolutely would not have.
agree to disagree. But
We can
anyhow,
I don't freaking inspect your plate to see what you've eaten and what you haven't eaten.
Let me ask you this. I think it's fair to say not every piece of meat is created the same.
Sure.
Steaks aren't, chicken isn't, whatever.
Sure.
Whatever.
One piece gets done first and the second one gets done last, and it's less juicy and less done because the first one's been sitting there.
So
whatever.
why would you, if I'm like, that's a tough piece of chicken, that piece of chicken's overcooked, like, why would you take that personally?
Because the tone, you're saying it to me. Who the fuck else is supposed to take it personally?
I'm saying it to just the general. I'm saying it to the room.
You're not saying it to the room. You're looking directly at me. Your tone is, oh, that one's definitely overdone.
Okay.
Like, okay, so sorry, King. I'm so sorry your fucking food is not exactly as you would like it. What do you see it as?
I see it as, I mean, shit, it probably is overcooked. Or, like, it's not a dig towards you. It's just,
what is it? What is it?
It's no different.
It is a critique. It is a criticism.
See, I don't see it like that.
How is it not?
I don't know how to explain it to you.
I don't know how you can explain it either, because it is a critique. It is a criticism. Otherwise, why would you feel the need to say it?
Because you could look at my face and say that piece of meat, okay, I could tell he didn't like that piece of meat. Are you
expecting me to do something differently next time?
No.
No, you're not?
No, because you could cook two pieces of chicken the exact same way, which is what you did. One of them tasted a lot better than the other. So to me, there was just a crappy piece of chicken.
So the point. So there's no point in you saying it.
I guess not. I mean, next time I'll chew like this.
I don't need you to. Like, I don't fucking care.
Okay.
Eat it or don't eat it. I don't give a fuck.
Okay. So just so y'all know, the next time this happens,
oh my God,
I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm just, she's going to be able to pick up on my facial expressions and she's going to say something about it. 100% guaranteed. All right, we're done. We're done. Next topic.
We're not done, because that is like the whole fucking point. And I was going to try to quit cussing, but you're making me do it this episode.
I think it's hot when you cuss.
It's not hot. If I'm being honest, not cute.
It's hot to me.
It's not. And I'm trying to not do that.
Yelling. When you're yelling, I'm like, okay, you need to pipe down.
I'm getting to that point.
Okay.
So that is the whole point. So it's little, it feels like it's little jabs. It feels like little critiques, these little criticisms of one on things that maybe I can't even control. I'm just going to be honest. I'm never going to always have a perfectly cooked piece of chicken.
No.
9 times out of 10, actually probably 11 times out of 10, I'm going to overcook the chicken because I want to make sure that it's done. So it just is what it is. I can quit making chicken altogether.
Most of the time it's spot on.
That's the case. But it's just little
more times than not.
It's just little jabs, and it feels like your fuse is, and I don't know if that's a fuse, but it's just like it just feels like you're being mean to be mean. And it's not like, that's not you. And I'm like, what has changed? What has changed about me? What has changed about our relationship that you are wanting to be so critical of me?
Do you feel like, this is a serious question, and I want you to pause for 5 seconds before you answer it. Sorry for the pause on the podcast. Do you feel like that not fully understanding what you're want to do, meant to do, whatever, do you feel like you're less appreciated? In other words, I feel like these are things that I've always said for the last 16 years. And it's never been an issue, but I think that you've put so much pressure on yourself to, I got to make sure the house is clean. I got to make sure that the dinner's cooked. I got to make sure, because I'm trying to do all these things to make life easier for Kent, which I appreciate.
Based on the
so do you feel like that you've put more pressure? Do you feel like you've put more pressure on yourself to where a comment today would have been just something we would have just joked about 4 years ago, 5 years? Like you said, I can't help but to think, and I'm not deflecting. I hear what you're saying, and I will try to be more cognizant and more aware of even the. Do
you recall
the least critical thing?
The fight that we had in December. It was bad. It was bad, bad, bad. And I don't know, I think that we went into some detail on here about it, but I don't know how much detail. I would have to go back and listen to the podcast from them. Do you remember that fight?
Not really.
Like, we ended up out in the igloo talking. Like, I was out there by myself. I'm like, I need you to leave. I don't want to be around you. Like,
I don't remember what it was about.
Okay.
I just remember it.
And it kind of came down to, I think I had said something to you about, because I don't necessarily have a job. Like, what if something were to happen between us? Like, I have nothing, I have no way to support myself.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you were like, but I like you being at home. I don't really want you to go get a job. Blah, blah, blah. But you were like, but you not working means that you need to be doing these things. Like, it was a sticking point for you. Like, there's no reason the house shouldn't be clean. There's no reason that you shouldn't be cooking. There's no reason that you shouldn't be going to the grocery store. You remember, it was the fucking ham and cheese. You remember? You had to go get your own ham and cheese and bread for lunch for the next. Do you remember?
I remember. It's clicking now. And
so do you understand where you made that point to me? Like, that is my responsibility. It's my job. It's my way. I make my contribution to this household. Like, you made that.
And I remember making that comment, but it was only after I had heard a complaint about going to the grocery store a dozen times. There was one, that ham and cheese one was the one that set me off. To say, look, the alternative is, it's like when people text me late at night. I'm sorry for the late text. I'm sorry for the early morning text. Do not apologize. The trade-off is I don't work a 9 to 5. And I'm thankful for that. Text me anytime you want. Because I don't have to get up at 6:30 in the morning, go work a 9 to 5, come back home. That is the trade-off. And when it finally came out, it was like the trade-off, Annie, is you don't have to get up to go to work anymore. You don't have to commute to work anymore. You don't have to go sit at a job for 8 hours a day that you can't stand or that you're bored out of your mind. That is the alternative. And for you to, and I don't know if complain is the right word. Maybe you were just vocalizing it. I guess no one really likes to go to the grocery store, but it's like, damn, dude. Like, literally, the alternative is you go to work every day. So is that what you want to do? No? Okay, well then don't complain about going to the grocery store. You know, don't complain. And here's the thing. I don't mind going to the grocery store with you. Are there going to be times where
this is not about the grocery store. We're not getting into the whole grocery store thing.
But it is.
It's not. You're asking me, like, I'm putting so much focus on, like, you're asking me because I don't have something else going on. Am I putting so much pressure on myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am, because that's the conversation that we had. That was your expectation, Ken. And that is why I am.
My expectation is not for you to be perfect. So when you are
picking about, it is. When you are picking on these things constantly, and you're not throwing in other possible things, and we're not having conversations like maybe we had because your nose is stuck in your phone.
So I think
there's not a buffer there for any type of, let me take this as a joke.
So I think that you just said something that I was wanting to hear or waiting to hear. Is you said that I'm not giving you the positive piece.
I guess. And I'm not like you've done it last night or whatever. I appreciate you for this. Like, I'm not looking for that either. Like, that just sounds so completely cheesy. Like, it's not. I know. I understand. It's not.
And if
normal.
I talk about sexual stuff and I think you're hot and I want to, then that doesn't work either. Like, I mean, like, what is it?
It is the
outside of the addiction.
It's that. It's our normal routine. Can you put that away for 5 minutes and actually watch a show? But can you stay awake on the couch while we actually watch a show? Like,
I can't control that.
You can, because you've done it years and years and years past. So why can't you do it now?
I can control falling asleep on the couch.
Yes.
I'm literally sitting up, Annie. I'm sitting up with the lights all on, with my legs crossed, trying to stay up as much as I can. Like, I'm doing everything I can to stay awake. I can't control if I fall asleep or not. Or you cannot be serious about that part.
Yeah, I can be.
But the point of it is, I hear you and I understand where you're coming from. all I'm saying is I want you to vocalize it. All I'm saying is when I realize that I have not been giving you the attention that you deserve, I need you to be open to it. And I need to realize this is an addiction. I got to do better. I got to figure out some kind of schedule. It's not always going to be there. It's going to be some ebbs and flows, kind of like what you talked about. But I've got to make sure that those ebbs and flows don't turn into it's just constant. And because that's really ultimately what it is. So I apologize for that. I take full responsibility for that, and I will do a better job at that. I appreciate you, everything you do at the house, everything you do for me, because you know how my mind works. I see a TikTok, I see an Instagram, I send it to you, and I'm like, man, this would be funny to do this, or this would be cool to do this. You now know that means he wants to go do it right now. And you do that. And I know it drives you crazy, and I know it drives you bonkers. It drives me crazy and drives me bonkers. But that's the way my mind works. Just like the way your mind works, it drives me crazy with stuff. But I do appreciate it. And I do appreciate you adapting to me. And I appreciate you adapting to me, essentially. But I need to make sure that I'm giving you what you need as well.
I think I did a TikTok about what I need.
You know, here's the funny thing about a TikTok. So Annie does a live today.
And it was money in hand. I have not received any money in hand recently.
Oh, I was supposed to give you money?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the one, your favorite, your biggest turn on or whatever it was?
Yes.
Yeah, that was funny.
I've not been shopping in a very long time.
Okay.
And
so we'll take you shopping then.
And I think I need to get out of the house more because I am
agree with that 100%.
At your beck and call all the time, and I cannot operate like that.
And that's not my fault either. I mean, that's not all my fault. Like, I don't control.
It's not all your
fault.
fault.
Well, let me tell you guys.
You're correct.
If you have any furniture that has goose feathers in it.
Yeah, they're a pain in the ass.
These little sons of bitches, these needles, I understand now why back in the day they dipped feathers and wrote with them, because these things are as sharp as they come. Quills. When you lay back on one of these, your back's going to feel it, and that's the worst thing about this kind of furniture. But anyhow, I digress. But anyhow, there was something I was going to say.
And you just threw it on the floor somewhere I can't get it to vacuum it.
She goes on a live today, and she's telling me this part. She's like, I'm going to say something about Kent, or I'm going to talk about something or whatever. He's gone to an appointment, a real estate appointment. So I know he's not going to be on the live. Well, I got to the appointment early, and so I'm just sitting in my Jeep waiting on my client to get there. And I thought, let me just look at TikTok. Well, I see Annie's on the live, so I hop on there. Right. I kid you not, could not have been, according to her, 30 seconds after she said, there's no way he's going to jump on there today. Right. I'm there. So then I was distracted, and then I hear her say, Kent, you weren't supposed to be here. I'm about to talk about you or something like that, so hop off. So I immediately hop off. But I thought, like, what are the chances that I got there early, good chance I got there early. But 100%. Anyhow, I just thought it was funny that you said that, and then you were like, I'm about to talk about you, so can you hop off? So, what did you say, by the way? I can't go back and watch it live. I don't like that.
I was talking about the situation this morning. The fact that you get up and all of a sudden it's in your mind about the winter wonderland. Okay. So we've been talking about these poles need to go up into their little bags or whatever, and then we've been talking about the igloo, the plastic igloo piece that goes over top of the whatever. It's very heavy. It's big. It's big. And at this point, it's wet. It's wet, and it needs to hang somewhere where it can dry so that it can be folded up and put away. And so it's too heavy for me wet to drag it and get it up on the trailer or wherever I'm going to put it to let it dry. And so, I mean, this has been weeks, and we've talked about it a couple times, and I've specifically am like, okay, I think it's supposed to rain this week. We probably need to go out there and let's put this over the trailer or whatever. Can you come help me? And you're like, really don't want to do it right now. Let's do it tomorrow. I'm like, okay, but it's supposed to rain.
She reminds me when okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. And so we don't do it. We don't do it. We don't do it. And so
And I've asked multiple times too.
You have?
Let's go out there and do it. Let's go out there and do it. Let's go out there and do it. But okay.
And we know from past history that if you just get up and go do it, I'm going to come up there and help you.
Sure.
I'm not going to let you just get out there and do it by yourself.
Sure.
And so...
You did today, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah, because you pissed me off. Okay. And so you decided this morning of all mornings has to be the second it gets done. And so I've cleaned, I think it was Friday, either Friday or Saturday. I don't know what day it was. Cleaned the entire house. Vacuum, mop, everything. And of course, you can't keep the freaking house clean because of this fucking dead grass that these two nuts.
We call it dormant grass.
Whatever. They keep going outside and rolling around the grass. So they're tracking it in. We're tracking it in. And so this morning, you get your panties in a wad and you decide it all has to come in. And so you're tracking in all of that dead grass along with water and making a freaking mess. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, you can't let it dry out and let's do it this afternoon. Like, why does it have to be right this second?
And do you remember what I said?
Because the weed people were coming today.
Yeah. I actually said that yesterday. I said, Roots is coming up to spray tomorrow. We need to get this stuff up. For whatever reason, it didn't happen. And I'm not saying that's all you because I didn't do it either. And then I woke up this morning and thought to myself, and the reason being is because the last time they came, the igloo was still up. And they sprayed around the igloo. Well, guess what? When the igloo came down, there were a few spots that had come up because they could not spray up on their igloo. So I'm like, I don't want that to happen again. I don't want them to spray around the plastic. I don't want them to spray around the poles because that means I might have to call them back out in 2 weeks and say, hey, look, I know I have some spots or whatever. I know it's not really your fault because I had poles and I had plastic and I had all this stuff laying in the yard for the last 3 months. It's not your fault, but can you come back out here and spray again? That wouldn't be right either. So I had reached that point where, okay, I'm just going to go do it. And whether or not you were going to help me or not, it was going to happen. And it was going to be a mess, but whatever. It is what it is. But who ended up vacuuming the grass up when it was done?
Well, you started to.
Okay. And I got most of it until the stairs, and then I had to go to an appointment. So I said, hey, can you do the rest of it? So anyhow.
Which I appreciate that.
Yep.
Because normally any type of project that you have,
Yep.
It is probably one of the worst traits that you have of making a freaking mess and leaving it.
Yeah.
It's not your responsibility to, for whatever reason, clean up your tools, clean up the mess that it makes. You just leave it. Trash, everything. And it's for somebody else to clean up. So I appreciated that you were doing that vacuuming, or at least starting that vacuuming piece, or at least recognizing that that was a huge irritation for me, having been the one that tries to keep the floors clean, the house clean, does the house cleaning. So that was it was a huge thing. So I was going online basically this morning to kind of just talk about and bitch about that for the most part. And in talking through it, damn, I forget what I said, but I 100% was like, now that I'm talking through this, I think this is actually like the root cause and the problem.
And you can't go back and listen to it.
I probably have something somewhere where I could listen
Is there
to
anyone
something,
that listens to this podcast that also listened to her live?
I doubt it.
This morning and could weigh in on what she's...
No, you. I didn't see anybody else on there. Anyway, where did that conversation start?
I think it was just funny to me that because we're talking about my schedule and all that stuff. Maybe.
So anyway, it started out with. I think it started out with me, because you have to pick a title. Like, you have to put a title in there. So I just was like, Gen X stay-at-home mom struggling is what I made my title. And started talking about that. And it started making me emotional. I started crying at a couple of different points. And, just feeling that, just talking, I guess pretty much everything that we've already talked about tonight. And it just kind of all those feelings coming out and us having this argument about the this whole piece of it. Of course, it did turn into argument. I was screaming, you were screaming, and then we just let it go.
Yeah. But
I didn't let it go. I went into the other room.
I think everything we've talked about tonight is valid. And I know that there's certainly things that I've got to work on and will work on. The good news is it's relatively easy to do. It just takes conscious decisions to constantly be thinking about it. And it is an addiction. I mean, it's just like somebody who drinks or smokes or whatever. I mean, you have to mentally, prepare for it and work on it. So I'm happy to do that. But I also think that the more you kind of dive into your cause and the more you dive into things that fuel you and the more you dive into things that spark your creativity and stuff like that, the less this stuff is going to be an issue to a certain, because I think that, I want you to feel validated. And I think part of feeling validated, like not just from me, but like internally, is this is my purpose. This is what I'm meant to do. And I think that you're starting to find that. But I think for the last year and a half, that's been a struggle for you to really know and understand. And I think that, as I've gotten busier and everything else, and you haven't quite figured that out yet, I think that at the core is probably driving some of this. And again, I'm not deflecting. I'm not saying that because I know that there's things that I got to do differently. And I have always, always, always strived to make you feel wanted and loved and appreciated and everything else. And I'll continue to do that, just maybe in a different way. So, love you, mean it. I can say it to you, no?
I'm surprised I didn't get the fam added to the end of that.
Stop it.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. Well, I just wonder. I can't help but wonder. Like, does anybody else struggle with this? Are we abnormal? Like, is this?
There's no way we're abnormal, but I would love to hear from other people that, whether or not it's from a career or children or, because think about it, there are probably people who go through this same thing. Like when you think about when Lauren moved back in, there was an adjustment there. When Jackson came back from school, there was an adjustment there. I mean, there's. I think
I'm struggling. I think I need people that I can talk to and with, and it not just be you. I think I need a group of women that I can interact with.
Go have coffee with and go.
Yeah, not just, see people online. I think
you need to get out more often.
I need to get out more often. And I need to put myself out there and find some people to go do those things with, even though I don't really want to go do these things. Because, the thought of having to do that is like, oh, I don't want to do that. So I do think that is a need for me. And I probably need to somehow get back into the gym, even though I'm not going to interact with anybody at the gym. But just having that outlet is probably good. And, so, yeah.
Going to classes at the gym could solve both of those things.
I think I'm just...
So, to change subjects, is this the new makeup you have on? Is this the mature makeup?
Well, yes.
It honestly looks good.
That I'm trying.
It honestly 100% looks good.
It's a little bit dark. I should have gone with this.
I don't think so.
I do, because I'm not tan yet. Like, I don't have a tan. I think it's got a little bit too much color for my face. But I should have gone the one step down. But this is, I think, will be a great shade for me once
you start getting tan.
Once I start getting tan. But yeah, I like it.
It's a noticeable difference.
It's easy to do. It's like, it's much easier. I feel like, I've been toning down, I feel like, the whole makeup thing anyway, for the most part, not going when I'm just around the house. Like, I'm not doing like eyes and stuff like that. So I'm trying to really, cut that process down. But I do like it, and I share it, all over. And it's not like, I don't know.
Anyways, I'm very observant, and I'm going to notice the smallest things. But this is definitely one of those things.
You are. Chicken that's too done, and my new makeup. You're gonna notice it all.
Whatever.
And that my hair is parted to the other side.
But that's good.
Yeah.
Would you rather be with somebody who doesn't notice?
No, I'm glad. I'm glad.
I could just not pay attention to
I know. You notice everything. I can't sneak
my
a
God.
single purchase by you. So,
Okay, whatever.
can we talk about the fact that I thought I broke my toe and my hip,
Oh my gosh.
and did actually break my freaking favorite? It's not a. It's like a scuff.
Most used flip-flops.
It's not a flip flop even. It's like a.
It's a slide. That's
Sure.
what the kids call it.
Yeah, it's a
but,
slide.
But somebody explain.
My toe, it still hurts.
Somebody explain why
It's got a little bit of a bruise there too.
garage floors are so slick. Is it
freaking
because
slick.
is it because when you're pulling in and out, your tires are turning? They're trying not to wear the tire out. That's the only logical thing that I can think of.
I went
because if
running.
you had like rough concrete or cement, it would like.
And
rough
so
the
when
tires
it
up.
happened, so Jackson came for dinner last night, and he was leaving, and I had specifically made potato salad for him. And so when he was leaving, he forgot to like take this potato salad. So I was running out in the garage to catch
Fast
him.
as I've seen you move in a long time.
Well, he was moving quick, and so I ran out, and there was a wet spot there
On the slick concrete.
on the concrete, and so I hit it, and man, it was like the Matrix. Like I was just like, it was like slow motion, and my foot, I think, hit the tire, and so my big toe just like went all the way back, like it just bent all the way back, and I kind of slowly went down, so I didn't fall hard. I kind of caught myself, so I wasn't, but yet it was jarring enough that I wanted to immediately start crying, but I got up and I got to the garage door and I opened it and I peeked my head out and I was like, "Did you want?" I'm like trying not to cry because I don't want him to know that I've just fallen trying to get out there to yell at him. Does he want this potato salad? And then he's like, I'm like, "Do you want this potato salad? Do you want to come get it?" And then finally I was just like, "I'll just bring it to you tomorrow." Because like I was about to start crying. He was like, "Yeah, that'll be good. Just bring it to me tomorrow." And I turned around and went back inside and I was like, "Oh, I want to cry so bad. This hurts so badly." And when I got back inside, I'm like limping. I looked down and I realized my freaking slide has ripped.
Yeah.
I mean, my toe went back
Inch and a half, 2
so
inches,
far.
yeah.
It ripped the top piece of it like 2 inches. And I'm just like shook at this point. And I really just, I wanted to cry, but I didn't. I just held it together and limped around. But inside, I was crying.
See, I thought it was going to be your knee. Because you said you went down to your knee, and I thought that was going to be the hurt part.
I went down to everything, like the hip, the knee, but the toe was it really.
So just to make sure, your knee's feeling okay?
No, it is not. Cannot do anything
Dang
on my
it.
knees at
Dang
all. They do not work.
Dang it.
Good try.
I thought I was
though.
about to get one
Good
through.
Good try. So anyway, so
All right, we ending this one?
I guess we're ending on that.
You got anything else?
Am I allowed to go? Bye.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Love it. Bye.
Bye.